Are you looking to become a better real estate investor? Then hang on, because you're about to experience another episode of the world's most popular real estate podcast, the BiggerPockets Podcast. But before we get to this week's show, I wanted to invite you to become part of our community, BiggerPockets.com, the real estate investing social network. The membership is free, and you'll instantly gain access to networking opportunities, educational content, investor tools, and more. Sign up now and get a free copy of our book, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing, read by hundreds of thousands of budding entrepreneurs. Just click this link right here or just head to BiggerPockets.com. With that, let's get to the show.
This is the BiggerPockets Podcast, show 105.
You're listening to BiggerPockets Radio, simplifying real estate for investors large and small. If you're here looking to learn about real estate investing without all the hype, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and be sure to join the millions of others who have benefited from BiggerPockets.com, your home for real estate investing online.
What's going on, everybody? This is Josh Dorkin, host of the BiggerPockets Podcast, here with my co-host, Brandon Turner. What's up, Brandon?
Hey, Josh. How you doing?
Hey, how the heck are you?
I'm sick again, still.
I know.
It never ends.
You're like, yeah, you need to stop eating organic and start eating just a whole load of crap, man, because
I know. I'm like the healthiest eater on planet Earth, and I'm like always got a cold. That's okay. I'm going on vacation in a week from now. I'll be in beautiful, sunny Hawaii.
Wow.
So,
Must be nice.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah. I'm not going to talk to you for a week.
You're going to be on what? I don't know what that word is, so I don't quite understand it. The concept.
You need to do that sometime.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, listen, today we've got a really, really cool show. I'm super excited for it. Before we go there, let's do today's quick tip. All right, quick tip.
All right. Being that it's 2015, Josh and I are actually going to start doing some new ideas with the podcast here at BiggerPockets, and one of those is a weekly trivia contest. So our quick tip today is try to listen to the podcast when it comes out. Don't wait weeks and weeks and get behind because you won't be able to get into the trivia stuff. So every week we're doing a new contest. So each week we're going to ask all listeners out there to answer a simple question about last week's show and email in your answers to trivia@biggerpockets.com. And you might win the digital and audio version of the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down.
Wait a second. Did you pick the prize out?
I did pick the prize out.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
what
right.
a shocker.
It's a good prize. All right, people love that.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
no, it's a great prize, a great book. And
people are going to love it.
Yes.
So if you want to win a copy of that, just answer this trivia question. Just email it into, again, trivia@biggerpockets.com. Here's the question.
All right.
On last week's show, we interviewed Todd Whitten about scaling up your business so you can lead a really incredible life. Awesome episode. And on that show, Todd mentioned that he taught business skills to aspiring entrepreneurs in what European country? So if you know the answer to that, or you want to go back and listen, just send it into trivia@biggerpockets.com, and you might win that PDF and audio version of the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down.
Awesome. Nice. Good job, man. Nice promo. That was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah,
All right. With that, why don't we get to the show? This is show 105. You can find the show notes at biggerpockets.com/show 105. And also, if you are one of our listeners and have yet to leave us a rating or review on iTunes, you can do that also via the link on the show notes at biggerpockets.com/show 105. And we definitely appreciate all those ratings and reviews. They help us get the word out. So with that, today's guest is Ophelia Nicholson. Ophelia is an amazing woman. She's funny. She's bold. She is making things happen. And you know what? This is somebody who bought their first house while making minimum wage. I mean, this is somebody who never said, I can't do it. It's somebody who's been inspirational and inspiring to me. Her story is amazing. It's great. And she's running a successful business, currently doing, I believe, 6 projects, flips right now simultaneously. You got to hear this. And so I'm super excited to bring her on, and let's take you to the show. So, all right, Ophelia, welcome to the show. It's great to have you, especially after the little bit of laughter we just went through trying to get you set up.
Thanks, Brandon and Josh. I'm so happy to be here.
See, she started with you.
Nobody likes Josh,
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. No, we had a good time during the sound check today with Ophelia. This is going to be a fun show. I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely.
You have a fascinating story. I mean, like, you have a fascinating story from what I know about it. I don't know a ton, but like, you got started with almost, you weren't making a lot of money. You moved here from out of the country, and 2014 was a great year for you, from what I've heard. So yeah, let's hit all that stuff today. Josh, you want to start us off?
Yeah. All right, Ophelia. So, let's talk about what Brandon just mentioned. So, where did you come from, and why did you come, and when was it? Let's start there.
It's not going to be a very long story.
And start and finish. Done. Nice. That was great.
Actually, I came from Jamaica in '99.
Nice.
And I had $400 in my pocket.
Nice.
And an 8-month-old baby.
Wow.
And I thought I was rich. So I came to the U.S., stayed with my family for a couple years, probably 2 years. And in 2001, I bought my first house.
Okay, so where did you move to? Like, what part of the country was your family?
I'm in Maryland.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so you came to Maryland with $400 in your pocket from Jamaica with a baby, $400 in the other hand, and
it's like $399 more than Josh has in his pocket.
I don't have a lot in my pockets at the current. Yes, that's right. All right, cool. So you came here and you bought your first house, and you said 2001?
2001.
So 2 years later.
Yes,
Wow.
2 years later.
Unbelievable. Okay, and before we even go there, what were you doing at that time? 2 years later, because this is what's, I think, pretty fascinating. You were working in the real estate business, right?
Right. I became a mortgage processor right after I came here. So my very first job, I learned about credit, assets, pretty much everything, and then bought my first house.
So what does a mortgage processor do?
You send in your application to apply for a mortgage, and we pretty much do everything the loan officer doesn't do.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And so you pretty much handle most of the work, do the bulk of the heavy lifting, and the loan officer, I don't know, does the selling, and maybe kind of try the rest of it, and gets all the riches. While you guys, as a loan processor, you were making what, like 150,000, 50,000. What were you making?
At the time, I was making $14,000.
You were making $14,000 a year as a mortgage processor.
Yep.
Okay.
My very first year, I was making $14,000.
Okay.
And I bought my first house.
First off, we're going to get to the house. To anybody in the lending business listening, this is crap. Absolute crap. The fact that somebody is here processing loans and making $14,000 a year is a travesty. It's a complete travesty. It's crazy. That blows my mind that that's even possible. I don't know. I'm stuck. I can't say anything.
But you have to also look at it. It was my very first year, my very first job. I didn't know much about the business.
Right.
So I was making minimum wage.
Oh, boy. So you were making minimum wage. All right, enough of my rant over. You're making minimum wage, and you bought a house. I thought that wasn't possible.
Well, it was possible for me, so it's possible for other people.
All right, so why don't we talk about that? How on earth was that possible?
My house was really small.
Awesome. All right, so you bought a small house, obviously, but tell us about this first house. Tell us about kind of how that went down, and if you would be willing to go into some detail, that'd be great.
I don't know that I remember a ton of details now.
Sure.
It's been like 14 years,
Yeah.
13, 14 years. But I had great credit at the time because that's all we did every day was credit. So I had great credit, 14 grand, and don't think I had a lot of reserves. First time home buyer, so I just got a mortgage.
Was it like an
it
FHA?
FHA?
Yeah.
No, I think back in 2001, I think it was a conventional. My very first mortgage was conventional with PMI.
Okay.
Well, and back then they used to just give mortgages a little more freely than they do today.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's great.
It wasn't as tight as it is now.
Right. Awesome.
Can I ask you this question about that? Do you recommend people today, like looking back at your life and your story, do you recommend people going that route? Like, if you don't make a lot of money, should they buy their first house, or why not, and when not?
I think you should. I think it was definitely great education to buy my first house, to figure out how I'm going to make that work off of that small income. And I think if you're responsible, you definitely should buy your first house, even if you don't make a lot of money.
Okay. Fair enough. And is there a line as somebody, you bring a unique perspective as a loan processor, somebody, I mean, you're not the one who's approving the loans, but you're the one who kind of is looking them over, right?
Correct.
But I'm assuming as that person, you probably saw somewhat through the funnel, like which ones are better, which ones are worse. I'm sure you've talked to the loan officers and they yelled at you, stop giving me these and give me these, that kind of thing. Is that right?
Well, I yelled at them.
Okay. Yeah. Well, don't yell at me.
No, I yelled at them. I can't believe you would send this stuff. But that was usually, it wasn't necessarily people who had low income, but it was mainly people who had low credit.
Yeah.
Stuff like that came through that you're like, I can't believe you would send this to me.
Okay. So for those people, whether they're investors or just, regular homeowners, I mean, can you, and this wasn't the intent of the show, but since we got you, I figure it would be worth asking, what does somebody need to have, before they go and apply for that loan? I mean, particularly the first-time home buyers, and let's kind of take it a step further and say, regardless of whether they're making minimum wage.
I think first thing you need to do is make sure you've got decent credit or great credit, and then one of the things I find even with flips that I do now is a lot of people don't have money saved, so I would say save some money. And then there are so many first-time home buyer programs. There's NACA. There is, they have a triple play that just came out where you get $20,000 in Maryland. There's so many things to facilitate you buying a home. I don't see why anybody wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, and I think you bring up an interesting point. Like those programs, they sound like they're probably Maryland specific, right? Or at least some of them.
I think some of them are Maryland specific, but I think some of them are over the country.
Sure. So, I mean, I think the interesting thing is, like, I don't know, there's so many different loan programs and things that can help you, especially first-time home buyers, in every state, every city. Some specific, cities have their own programs as well. So just something to check into if you're looking to get in your first house. There's probably a program or two out there that does apply to you. Do you have any recommendations on how people can find those?
I do not at this moment, but I will look it up.
They can ask you.
It's all good. Yeah, you're going to start getting lots of questions. Now you got to do research. Now you get another job helping other people find those programs. Good job, Brandon.
Yeah, well, no, I think that's the truth though. Is they ask you if they're in Maryland, they can send you a private message on BiggerPockets and say, "Hey, I'm looking to buy my first deal. I know you were in Maryland and you did it. How can I do it?" And if they're in Washington, they could private message me and ask me, "Hey, do you know any good current loan programs in Washington?"
Yeah.
And it really can be as simple as that. So
yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Well, so this property was intended as your personal residence, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So how did you transition from that to, hey, you know what? I want to be a real estate investor. I want to start buying some properties, flipping houses, doing whatever it is we're about to learn about you. And how did all that go down?
Now my story gets interesting.
Oh.
So
it wasn't interesting before, by the way.
No.
Totally boring.
So I bought my first house in 2001. And then in 2002, I was buying my second house. So the very next year, I decided I was going to buy another house, but this time I was going to live in it. And ended up being an accidental landlord. So some people came to look at my house. They thought my small house was too small. I saw a house, needed repairs. So I bought it with the intention of renting it to them. And then they sued me for $15,000.
Really?
Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. I'm confused. Yeah. So hold on. Let's zip it back a little bit. All right. You're in this little tiny box of a house that you bought in 2001, right? How big was
Correct.
it? How big was that?
I still live here, so it is probably about 800 square feet. It's like a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and then downstairs is like a living room, kitchen, dining room in one, and then a kitchen.
Okay,
so
it's tiny. It's not. I've heard of smaller. It's not teeny.
I lived in a 450 square foot house once.
Exactly.
No, you're just showing off.
Yeah,
And he's like 9'2", so
I could lay across the entire house. And,
There you go. All right. So you're in this. Anyway, okay. You're in this little house again. So the second house you met somebody who wanted to rent out your house from you. I guess I'm a little confused. Clarify for me a little bit here.
Okay. So I got a real estate agent and he was showing me houses because, of course, at the time I was making more money. Thought I'd move to a bigger house.
Okay.
He had some clients who were looking for a house to rent.
Yes.
So he thought it'd be a great idea to show them my house since I was going to be vacating it.
The one that you're in right now.
Right.
Okay.
So they came and saw the small house and they thought it was just too small for them.
Okay.
So while we were looking for properties for me to live in, I came upon a property. It was $87,000, and they pretty much came over, saw it. I don't know. Brilliant idea came in my head. Hey, what if they came over and they rented it for me for $1,100? So they came over, saw it, liked it. I needed to rehab on it, and that's how it started. Got them under contract to rent it, bought the house, did rehab, and they came and spent one night in the house and sued me for $15,000.
So how did they?
Why'd they sue you?
Yeah, I don't understand. How is this? Like,
They didn't like the paint colors or something.
It's very
maybe
offensive.
I'm cutting the story probably a little bit short, but
Sure.
rehab went on for probably about 2.5 months because at the time it was my very first any kind of rehab. So rehab went on for about 2.5 months, and they kept coming to see the rehab. So they were abreast about what was going on, how the property was getting fixed up. And the night before everything was done, the carpets were being put in. And they just called out of the blue, said they had nowhere to stay if I could let them come and stay in the living room. They knew the rest of the house wasn't carpeted, be carpeted the next day. And I think I was just kind, and I was like, okay, sure, come and stay the night because you have nowhere to stay. And then in the morning we'll get the carpet finished, and that's just how it happened.
Okay. So, and what was kind of what was the grounds for the suit?
They took pictures of the house. So that night that they came in with that one room carpeted, they came in, they took pictures of the house and then tried to play it off that I was a slum landlord.
Interesting.
So they're just trying to take advantage of you. So they
You know,
tricked
the
you into
accent.
staying in the house when it wasn't finished, took pictures.
Yeah.
And then
And then
claimed
what's-
that you were a slumlord, putting them in a property that was under terrible conditions.
Correct.
Ah.
And so the next day I came and finished the carpeting, and then I had another tenant who came and stayed for 2 years, didn't do anything else to the property, and she stayed 2 years.
So did you lose that $15,000 lawsuit?
I lost $3,500. The judge awarded them $3,500, and it ruined my credit for many, many years.
Dang.
So what did we learn here? I mean, obviously this is a show. We got lots of people listening. Don't get scared. There's, I think, like enough people to fill a stadium. But yeah,
That's okay. The story gets better in the end.
well, we want to hear that part too. But so I mean, like, what kind of lesson? If I'm a brand new landlord and you know, I come to you and I say, Ophelia, oh my goodness, I heard you got sued by this guy and it sounds horrible. Like, how do I make sure that doesn't happen to me?
I think, first of all, you shouldn't be letting people in your house if it's not completely finished.
Tip.
That's number one. And then second, you just have to really do your background and make sure the people that are coming to you really aren't just scam artists who just want to take advantage of somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Well,
Okay,
I'm
so you said-
sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry
that
that you went through that, and that it sounds terrible. And listen, I mean, let's call a spade a
I'm
spade.
not sorry.
You made a mistake. It happened. You didn't know any better, but now you've learned from it. And now, guess what? 40,000+ people are going to learn from your lesson as well, and hopefully, the less of those mistakes happen. And those guys who are out there trying to take advantage of new landlords hopefully can't get away with it as easily. So,
Right. I'm not sorry. I think it was great.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would have enjoyed that. Hey, you're going to court tomorrow. Awesome. I can't wait.
No, not in that sense. But looking back, I think it was just one of those lessons that I needed to learn.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I think every one of those things just kind of makes you a better investor later on.
Right.
Kind of helps turn out. So, okay, so you said that story became better, I guess, like it has a good ending. So what happened with that deal?
Oh, not with that deal. I just mean my story.
your
in general.
story. Okay. Well, let's go on to that then.
Yeah, let's keep talking about how her life went downhill and downhill and downhill, and then we're gonna go. Awesome, that was great. Thank you so much. All right, cool. So,
Bye-bye.
you became an accidental landlord. You ended up with that property. You kept the next tenants for 2 years. You shook it off. It sounds like, and
Right.
said, "Hey, I'm gonna keep going." What'd you end up doing next after that?
So the next year I bought another house.
Okay.
So by this time, 3 houses. So by the time we end up going to court for the $15,000, I had 3 houses. But that court case messed up as far as my credit for probably about 7 years. and I did dumb stuff.
Yeah.
At one point, I was losing all 3 houses. So right around 2005, 2006, I ended up selling the other 2 houses and just moving back to my small house. So I was out of real estate for probably about 4 years.
And why did you lose those houses? What happened?
I did dumb stuff.
Okay, well, you're on with Josh and Brandon, man. We've admitted to countless dumb things. It's time for you to open up. What dumb things? If anyone in real estate can say that they haven't made a stupid mistake, they're lying to you. So, yeah, what dumb stuff did you do here? If hopefully you want to talk about it, I'm going to pressure you until you do. So.
No, that's fine. I quit my job and I was pregnant and quit my job.
That was dumb.
Yes, I know.
All right, so you quit your job because you wanted to become a full-time real estate person?
No, I quit my job because I thought, hey, I can process mortgages by myself. I can open a processing company. And yeah, that didn't work out so well.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so
And I'm sure the market collapsing didn't help too in there. Was that involved in that?
Actually, no. I missed the market collapse.
Okay.
I was out of real estate before the market collapse. So by 2005, 2006, I had sold one property, made $86,000, sold another property, made $87,000. So I was totally out.
Was the next one $88,000?
No, the next one, the really small house, I'm still in it.
Okay.
All right. I'm just
So you got out of the game. You kind of sat out the decline, which is great, probably that you missed out on that, and then you got back into real estate at some point. Can you kind of tell us that story of how did you get back into the real estate investing game?
Okay, so right around 2010, I thought, okay, I've been out for long enough, and I started to think, what has made me money in my life? So it was real estate.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, maybe it's time for me to start and buy another rental property. So in 2010, I was looking for a rental property. And while I was looking, I noticed that there were people buying houses for $40,000, $50,000, fixing them up, and they were reselling them for $100,000, $150,000. And I thought, oh my God, that's awesome. Why didn't I think of that? So I bought my first rental property, and then my uncle was a general contractor.
Okay.
So I thought, hey, I have the mortgage background and I know how to do FHA, VAs, and all this loans. And he has the construction background. So it would be really great if we teamed up and did flips.
Okay. And is that what you did?
Yeah. And that's what we did. In 2000, well, it took me about 6 months to convince him. So we did our first flip in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you decided against the buy and hold, and now you're going straight into flips, yeah?
Right.
Okay, cool. So 2011, what does that first flip look like?
That first flip is down to studs.
Okay.
And replace everything on that house except the roof.
Wow. And what'd you pay for it? How much did it cost you? What'd you walk away for? And how long did it take?
All right. So the very first flip, at the time, I didn't know anything about hard money. I didn't know anything about private money. So we put together the cash. We bought it for $62,900. We paid $70,000 in rehab, and we sold it for $191,500.
Wow.
$140,000. It's not
so
bad.
You made some good money.
Yeah.
That's
we
great.
made decent money for that first year.
And where is this located? This is in Maryland.
This is in Maryland.
I didn't know they had cheaper prices like that there. I mean, I have no idea
Yeah.
the market there, but I would assume that was like,
I did
New
too.
York or something with, $500,000 for a 800 square foot house. It's not like that.
No.
Okay.
No, in D.C. it is, but I'm in Prince George's County, Maryland.
Okay. Is that a little more rural than the rest?
I wouldn't say it's rural. It's probably about 10 minutes outside of D.C.
Okay.
So
wow.
10 minutes
Wow.
outside of the capital of the greatest country on planet Earth, you could find a house for $50,000, which proves that there's pretty much no location on planet Earth where you can't live and find a reasonably priced property to fix, flip, buy and hold, you name it, within an hour or two. I mean, it just proves it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what are the neighborhoods? I mean, what is this? Is this like, I don't know, how bad is this? I mean, is this a bad neighborhood, a good neighborhood? Is it, I don't know, ghetto? Is that the right, I don't know. I don't know that area at all.
Actually, it was a very decent neighborhood, and we already had, that was the neighborhood that I had a primary residence in. I'd had a couple rentals in. My uncle had a couple rentals in, so it was somewhere we were familiar with.
That's great. Which
And
which
I
is
think
another
that's
great tip, by the way. Like, make
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
invest where you know, right?
Right. Flipping in my own backyard.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Hey,
awesome.
that's a good
Title for
That's
the
a title
podcast.
for a podcast. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
flipping my
yeah.
mind. Anyway,
All right. So how long did it take that actual flip? What was open to close?
That flip took a very long time. We started we started it. When did we start it? We started it January. I think we didn't have it on the market till August.
Okay.
It sold right away. We had multiple offers in the first 3 days, and it sold within a month. So it was sold probably by September.
Okay. And when you gave that 70,000 or so in rehab, is that also your holding costs and cost of money and everything else, or was that just the materials and labor?
Well, we didn't have any holding costs because we had bought it cash.
Oh, you guys pay cash. Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was my uncle came up with 20,000. I came up with 20,000, and I was engaged at the time. And he came up with 20,000, and we kind of put it together. And then we funded the rehab. Everybody should not do this. We funded the rehab with credit cards and just getting paid and using that money. But you should not do that.
Why
I've
not?
done that.
Why not?
That's actually one of the questions I had in the fire round question, the section below.
Really?
So let's hit that now. Yeah, credit cards. Let's talk about them.
I mean, if you have the money that you're getting continual income to be able to pay for it, it's one thing. But if you're just doing it on the whim that, okay, it's going to sell and I'm going to be able to pay it off, I don't think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I did that once. It wasn't. It was that house. Yeah, it's that house. I've told that story a bunch of times, but it's like the house that I bought, and it took me 2 years, like from beginning to end, took 2 years to buy, fix up, sell, and in that process, I used a lot of the repairs I used a credit card for. So yeah, that was a.
How did that work out for you?
I broke even at the end of 2 solid years, including
Wow.
a year of actual physical labor on that house. I lost out on a whole year of my life. I mean, I learned a lot of cool stuff. I learned how to build a staircase. That was cool.
Nice.
All right.
Not many people can say they can build a
How
staircase.
many people have
but
fallen through those stairs since the construction of said staircase?
That was the best looking staircase. I'm gonna find a picture. I'm gonna put it in the show notes
Nice.
at biggerpockets.com/show105.
Nice.
And I'll
I
share that
think
picture.
I think you're right. I think it probably was the best looking staircase.
It was the best looking
Yeah,
staircase.
yeah.
Now,
Wow.
I'm sure when I dropped my price
Yes.
$50,000 to unload that house, I'm sure I felt pretty good about it then too. All right, anyway.
All right, Ophelia. So you closed your first flip successfully. You blew everybody away with it, right? That's awesome. Tell us, then things really started to heat up, and I know last year you just kicked backside. So why do you think 2014 was so great for you? And tell us about it. Tell us what happened in 14. How many deals did you do?
In 2014, I sold 7, but I carried over 6 to the new year.
Okay.
The new year 15 or new year 14? It doesn't really matter.
New year 15.
Okay.
So I still had 6 in my inventory coming into the new year.
Sure.
Okay.
But the last couple of years have been super powerful for you, from what it sounds like.
Well, what happened, it was in 2013, I kind of ended the partnership with my uncle and went off on my own.
Okay.
We were doing flips, but we were doing one
He
a year.
didn't put like a cow's head in your bed or anything, did he?
No. I think that's
Godfather
Italian.
style, yeah.
I think that's Italian. We're Jamaican.
What do you guys do?
We probably put some food in.
I woke up in a bed of plantains. What?
Exactly.
Oh man, you pissed somebody off.
Some curry chicken.
Jamaican patties and
All right,
things like that. All right.
Probably some curried or jerk chicken on the bed.
Nice.
Exactly.
Oh man, scary stuff. All right, so you separated from him. Okay, why did you separate from him really quick? I'm just curious on that.
We were doing one flip a year, and
Okay.
I thought we had a really great product. Every flip we put on the market, the very last one we did, it was on the market 5 days, and we had 5 offers. So for every day it was on the market, we had an offer.
Yeah.
So I thought we had a really great product, but our timelines were just too long. We were holding houses for 8 months at a time.
Yeah.
We were taking 6 months just to do the rehab. He had quit his job, and the company was now paying for him to be self-employed, but the rehabs weren't getting any faster. And it was just, overall, I just felt like it was a bad partnership.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Was that?
Yeah.
Can I ask you, I mean, I don't know if he's gonna ever listen to this, so I don't want to make awkward or anything like that. But was
he
that
knows the
awkward?
truth.
Okay.
Wait, what'd she say? I missed that.
He knows the truth. I wonder, like, is it awkward now? I mean, like, because working with family and friends, it's one of the downsides of doing it is that after the deal is done, if things don't go right, working with family and friends can be awkward. Like, is that awkward for you guys now?
No, he still calls me and be like, "Oh, I'm doing one flip a year. Can you come and buy my lights or pick out this or pick out that?" And I go do it. But when it first happened, it was really horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was one of those where, everybody starts thinking they're getting robbed.
Yeah.
Everybody wants you to now pull out the books and show where all the money went. So it was really bad when it first happened.
Well, I'm glad it worked out, and I don't know. I'm always of the family and friends first, and then worry about business later. I try not to get into business with my relatives because out of fear of that. I mean, it's scary, but I'm glad things have improved for you guys. So things picked up. I mean, did you get a new partner? Did you continue at it on your own, or you just been kind of plugging away now? What's the deal?
Okay, so now it comes where I quit my job the second time. So like I said, in 2013, I separated from my uncle, and then I made a goal. So my goal was I was going to quit my job in 3 months and be a full-time investor. So a month passed, nothing was happening. I wasn't getting anything done, nothing had changed. And then I said, okay, well, I need a new goal. So my new goal was in 30 days, I'm going to quit my job and be a full-time investor. So what I needed to do to get that done was get 15 houses under contract. So probably about 2 weeks later, I'd gotten 15 houses under contract, and my job was making me sick. I gave my resignation and went out on my own. And then once there, I was like, okay, I'm on my own. I need to really make things happen now.
So you got to explain this to me.
Mm-hmm.
Up until this point, how many real estate deals had you done?
Up until this point, I'd done my 3 that were, me buying them, my 2, then my 2 rentals. Then my uncle and we did 3, and then I had done my 1 rental property. So up until this point, I had done 7 total.
You've done 7 deals, and
7
at that time. You're now saying to yourself, "Hey, I need 15 under contract." Okay,
right, which is really scary.
And in what time period did you do that?
That was 30 days.
In 30 days, you put 15. I'm not judging you. I'm just trying to understand this. You put 15 properties under contract to purchase
in 30 days. Yeah.
In 30 days. Now,
wow.
You got to tell me, you got a big set of brass ones, by the way. Holy Moses! I don't know if that works with a female, but wow. I mean, that's bold. That's really. I mean, that's bold.
Go big or go home, right?
Yeah, you went big. What did you do with those 15 properties, and over what period of, we got to hear what's happened. I mean, did you wholesale, or did you flip them all, or are you holding them? How did you,
I did not buy all 15.
Okay.
I did not buy all 15.
Okay.
So that I have to clarify that I didn't buy all 15. I did get them under contract, but I didn't buy all 15.
Okay.
Because, of course, once you're out on your own, then you start wondering, okay, do I have enough money to buy all of this stuff?
Yeah.
So some of them I bought by myself, and then one of them I eventually was like, okay, I want to buy this. I don't have enough cash. And I eventually went back to my uncle and said, hey, what are you doing? Do you want to come and joint venture with me on this one particular property? So that's how we got back talking.
Okay. And so did he end up coming in?
He did. He did end up coming in.
See, don't ever destroy a relationship, right?
Yeah. So he did end up coming in, and we did do that one together.
Gotcha.
Which was still a bad idea.
Oh, man. Come on. This poor uncle is just getting dragged. No, he's not. I mean, yeah.
Don't listen to this.
Yeah. Okay. So,
I want to ask a couple questions about the quitting your job thing. I mean, so you quit your job once before,
yes.
And then you realized maybe that was not a smart idea, and so you went back to work again, and then you quit your job a second time. I'm assuming the second time worked out a lot better. I would assume. I guess, can you kind of talk about that? Like, when should somebody who's listening to this show, when should they they quit their job? Like what? I mean, at what point? Like, why do you think the second time was successful, the first time wasn't? What differentiated those two?
Well, the second time I had money.
Okay,
That's a good,
better.
better
That's a
reason to
really good
quit.
answer.
So I had money to be able to buy my deals, but I also had money to be able to live. I could live for a year if things didn't work out.
Yep.
So I think that was the difference. The first time I was just quitting because I can do this by myself, and I really hadn't given it much thought.
Yeah.
But the second time I was more prepared. I knew, okay, I'm going to need X amount of money. The first house is probably not going to sell for the first 3 or 4 months. So I need to be able to survive. I need to be able to fund the flip. I need to be able to buy other stuff. So I had money.
Gotcha. Okay. I think that's smart. I think too many people quit their job too early. I mean, I'm all for quitting your job. Like I
Right.
love that idea. But obviously you have to have a plan behind that, and usually money is a good part of that. I quit my job 3 times in my life now, like where I've said I'm never having one again. And then
Right.
each time I went back for some reason, like flipping didn't work out or whatever. And I don't know. I just think that's cool that you. I think that's cool that you did that, and I think it's cool you had both the first experience and the second to kind of compare and contrast that. So very cool.
Nice.
Okay, so quit your job, flipping houses. How many have you done now in the last couple of years since then?
Since leaving my uncle, like I said, I came into the new year with 6. So right now I'm doing 6 rehabs.
At the same
and then
time.
right at the same time. And then I sold 7 last year. And then my plan through the end of the year, I know this is crazy, but my plan through the end of the year is to do 30.
Wow.
That's great.
So-
But and I love that you're setting big goals, right? Like we've talked about that before, and there's a book I read called 10X by Grant Cardone. It's all about that, right? You set big, huge goals for yourself. Not I want to do 1 flip next year.
Right.
You set big goals. So I mean,
Well,
that's awesome.
She's not only setting big goals, but she's taking big steps to do
Big
it.
steps
which
to
is-
do that, which is the key to
awesome.
setting big goals. Yeah,
Yeah.
Big goals are useless if you don't take the steps
Yeah.
to do that.
So how are you rehabbing six properties at once? I mean, you've experienced. You're like
on your tool
you're-
belt and walk
Well,
out
I was
there.
gonna say you're like a baby who decides she's gonna run a marathon. Like, hey, I just started walking. I'm gonna run a marathon tomorrow. Cool, you do it, baby. I mean, how are you rehabbing 6 properties at once? Apparently, I offended the cars behind me.
Oh, did you? I am actually, I don't know, I guess it's called a one-woman shop. So I am the realtor, the stager, the designer, and the project manager.
Wow. Do you have 6 crews, or are you using 1 crew? How are you doing the rehab?
No, there are 3 different sets of crews running right now. And one of them's even rehabbing a friend of mine, Derek's property. And then we go in and out. Like there's one property that there's an addition being put on the back. So like there will be a drywall crew that comes in, plumbers, like different subs that come in.
And 2 questions for you. How are you finding the contractors you're dealing with? And then secondly, how are you financing all this stuff?
Well, I'm financing hard money at the moment.
Okay.
And contractors just through referrals, and I just basically have to sit on everybody.
Nice. Well, let's talk about that. I mean, like, what do you mean by sit on everybody? Sit on everyone. Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Well, like I said, one of the problems that I had with my uncle, I don't mean physically sit on them.
Yeah. I got you.
She's coming. Hold her down.
One of the problems that I had with my uncle was the fact that the rehabs were just taking so long.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I'm looking on the MLS and there are people who are doing rehabs in 30 days. Why can't I do rehabs in 30 days? So that was the first mark, getting rehabs done in that 30-day timeline. So sitting on them basically just means I know usually by the day that I buy, I have dumpsters delivered. I have plumbers getting ready to come in. I've got electrician ready to come in, demos getting started. So just making sure everything's ordered in the timeline.
You're not messing around. Okay. And again, I'm going to go back to the 6 really quick on this. How you've got 6 going, you said you have 3 crews in, which means 3 of your properties aren't being touched. Which is, money out of your pocket, money in the pocket of the hard money lender, right? So time is money. In retrospect, are you scaled well enough to be doing 6 properties at this point? Or, do you still, and I'm not trying to, make you look or feel or anything bad. I'm just wondering, like, hey, seeing that there's 3 properties that are sitting there, I bet you're like, clenching your teeth and saying, I want this done. I want it done, so.
Well, I am, and I'm not all in the same breath, because when I made that goal for 30 properties,
yeah,
I thought to myself, when I'm doing, 7, it's easy to do 1 rehab and not have anything sit.
Yeah.
But in order to do a 30, you're going to have stuff that's going to sit,
Yeah.
and you're just going to have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
But if the rehab is in, 30 days, then one house is not going to be sitting more than, 30 days.
Yeah. I mean, you could
Probably
get
going to be a
more,
list.
you could get more crews, but I guess then there's that, now you're managing, additional crews, managing all these extra people, and it gets a lot more complicated, I'm assuming.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right now it's kind of hard to go, okay, I need 3 different sets of windows. I need 3 different sets of cabinets. I need, just juggling everything.
Yeah.
So you mentioned hard money. For those people who don't know what that is, can you kind of explain that and maybe share how you found the hard money lender?
I actually found my hard money lender through Derek, who I met on BiggerPockets.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So see,
cool.
BiggerPockets has
Networking.
been awesome.
Yeah, that's what
Like
we're
to hear it.
talking about.
And what does that mean? What does a hard money lender do?
He pretty much lends me the money at very expensive costs
Yeah.
Nice.
to buy the house.
Nice.
Yeah. And how does that, I mean, what kind of rate, do you mind me, I don't know if you can even share this, like,
No, that's fine.
specifically, but what kind of rates and fees do you pay for hard money?
Right now, my hard money lender is giving me 70% ARV, and he's doing 4.5% upfront and 14.5% interest only every month.
Okay. Yeah. And people who don't know what hard money is are probably like shocked right now and probably just picked their jaw off the floor. But
Right.
those are fairly normal rates for hard money, which
Exactly.
people can learn more about if they pick up my book. So
Oh my, really?
now
Ouch.
you know why I brought the hard money question.
Ouch.
Well-
I'm not even gonna give the link. That way it's
I mean-
not a shameless plug, right?
Well, you can shamelessly plug. That's okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. So the hard money, yeah.
It's
I mean,
really hard. Like come February 1st, I think like I have a $13,000 payment due February 1st.
Woo. Yeah. And so what are the dangers of using hard money?
Just basically not having enough money.
There
So
you
if
go,
you don't
yeah.
have enough money to do rehabs, if you don't have enough money to make the payments, to pay for the electricity, just to keep everything going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and the rates are high, and but here's the reason people do hard money, right? I mean, hard money lenders understand the business, right?
Right.
They can look at a property, they can evaluate it. Presumably, you're doing that work and you're showing to them, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, this makes sense." They know the cost to fix it up, and they're applying their money, and they're taking a big gamble on somebody that they're going to actually be able to get their money back out, right?
Definitely. I think one thing that I have used to try to make hard money feel a little bit less expensive is my rehabs are quick and I'm in and out of the property really quick. So
And that's key.
like
That is key.
yeah, that is definitely key. So like now I think I'm probably around a 4-month timeline to be in and have it sold.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, the property I mentioned earlier, the one I held for 2 years, that was hard money the entire time.
Oh,
And you can
wow.
imagine, yeah, hard money. We were paying 12% at the time, 12% for 2 years on a $90,000 loan. Like
That
is a
had to
lot
sell.
of interest. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean that's why I didn't make money on that deal. Had I had all cash, it would have been fine. But okay, so we talked about hard money, like why it can be dangerous and all that. But obviously, the good side of hard money, of course, is that it's quick, it's easy, and you can just factor those numbers into your math when you do the math. And if it works, it works.
It works. Right.
Yeah. So I will take this moment to plug something else, not for me, but for Josh here. We have a BiggerPockets house flipping calculator that a lot of people use already, but for those people who are not already using it, check it out at biggerpockets.com/analysis. biggerpockets.com/analysis. And we actually have in there, you can actually type in the hard money rate, the fee, and all that, and plug it into your calculation. And if you can come up with a good, deal, including those costs in there, it's a good way to feel confident about your flipping is by including those numbers in there.
And I have used that calculator and it's really awesome.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for this calculator aside, you and this goes with everything. I think one of the most important things when it comes to a real estate deal is understanding the costs up front. I think where novices get it wrong is they always underestimate their costs. And even pros, even guys who've been doing this a long time, underestimate costs. It's really easy for rehab to go over schedule, to, budget to go much bigger. And so,
and I have a story about that.
And I want to hear it, but really quick, and if you're doing this stuff, guys, definitely, don't ever, say you're doing a buy and hold property and you're trying to evaluate a buy and hold property and you're like, I'm going to manage it. So I'm going to just not include the management cost so it looks better. Don't do that. Put the management cost in because, in the end, if that deal works, it's going to be a much better deal than a deal that had you left out a couple of costs just to kind of make it work because you really are emotionally attached to that thing.
Yeah.
So
I think that was a very good point.
Thank you.
Because you do have a lot of people who they just try to cut everything like, I'm not going to have a ton of holding cost. I'm only going to hold it for 4 months. And then, 7 months later, they're still holding the property. And
well, that was my one good point for the week. So,
Good job.
No.
Yeah. All right. You had a story. Let's hear that. And then we're actually going to probably move on to our fire round.
I have a story that I posted on the forum about going $70,000 over budget.
70,000?
That's
70,000.
I didn't read that forum thread. Tell me
Oh,
about that.
you didn't?
No.
Tell me about this.
Yeah.
I mean, we had like
how's that
1,700
possible?
forum posts on Thursday. So, if then to now, Brandon reads them all.
No.
I'm
Okay,
just
so
kidding.
70,000 over budget though. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's more than I was only like 50 over budget on my biggest property.
How'd you go 70?
How'd you go 70 over?
I got a really bad quote from a contractor. I trusted him, and it was a historic house. I didn't realize at the time that historic houses you needed to go do full electric, full HVAC, full plumbing, and just everything that came with historic houses. So, then those numbers just kept racking up.
Well, explain really quickly for those people who don't understand. What is a historic house? And what's the difference between that and a house that, I don't know, I see a house built in the 50s. Is that a historic house or a house built in the 20s? Is it a timeline or is it just, a special property? What makes a difference?
I think it's just anything that's, it was in a historic neighborhood, but it's just anything, 1920s, 1900s, 1950s does not count. That's not historic. So 100 years old, over 100 years old, 80, 90 years old, just older houses that have,
knob and tube.
They've just been around. Knob and tube, electric, and just galvanized pipes, just old houses.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, just from my experience, almost every flip I've done has been old house. It's been 100 years old or so.
Right.
I mean, there are so many things that can go wrong. And I'm not saying people shouldn't do them. I love them. But there are a lot of things that you just never will see until you open up a wall or until you pull something out. So there are some added risks to doing those. Maybe you can speak to that for a second.
One of the things that older houses have is they don't have a lot of insulation. Their outside walls aren't really insulated. So, once you open those walls, the walls are made of plaster. So once you open those walls, then you've got this heavy plaster, no insulation. And then, once the county comes in for permits, it's just you need permits for everything.
Yeah.
So
I hear Maryland's pretty crazy about that.
Yeah. So those costs just kind of start running up.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, listen, I think your story's been very interesting, and we're cheering for you, and definitely want to hear if you hit the 30 at the end of the year.
You can come back here on the podcast and tell us about your 30 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit it just so I can come back.
Good.
Nice.
That's what I wanted.
Well,
Giving you an incentive.
do it well. Make sure you do it, but do it well. And
I got 30 flips. I lost money on every
otherwise,
one.
we're gonna beat you up on that. So
$200,000 it cost me
No.
just to
on
get
the
on
show.
a second show. Yeah.
No, because I'm a woman. We do really nice rehabs.
That is true.
You know,
I let my wife do all the looks part of our rehab.
Let's talk about that really fast. I wanted to go to the fire round, but I want to talk about that. I don't know how many female rehabbers have we spoken to, Brandon, in the 100+ shows? Not that many.
Not that many.
Why are more women not rehabbing houses?
I don't know the answer for that. I think it's like a male-dominated field.
Yeah.
So I really don't know the answer why more females are. But we do really great houses. I mean, lighting is beautiful. We know exactly what the buyers want. And I just think overall we do really nice houses.
Well, who are the buyers on houses? It's women. Guys don't
It's
buy.
women.
We don't buy houses. I mean, I have no say whatsoever in my next house purchase. It's great, honey. What do you think? Right?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah. So that's I mean, why don't you? I'm going to give you an opportunity to kind of like plead to the women out there to get into, get out there and do this stuff. Cause I think a lot of women think, hey, I can't do this. That's not true.
Right. If you're a woman and you want to flip, I think you should go for it. And if you're local, give me a call.
Nice. That was very inspiring.
That was inspiring. I'm inspired.
Was it?
I'm inspired.
Are you
And I'm
gonna
not
go
even a
for
woman.
it?
I'm inspired.
All
All
right.
right, moving on. I hear the sound effects coming in.
It's time for the fire round.
All right, this is the fire round. These questions all come straight out of the BiggerPockets forums, which our listeners can interact on at biggerpockets.com/forums. And I know Ophelia is in there. That's how I found Ophelia for the show, is you were helping people out in there. So let's let you help out some more people answering their questions. Number 1 of the fire round. Let's see. What do you do when you're selling your fix and flip on the retail end? Do you sell it on your own or do you use a realtor? And you said earlier you're your own realtor. Does that mean you actually have your license?
I do. I got my license in January of last year.
Okay, so you actually sell them yourself. You put them on the MLS.
I put them on the MLS, and honestly, that's all I do with my houses. I don't do any kind of advertising anywhere else. I just put them on MLS, and that's where 95% of the buyers are.
And you're selling those in days.
In days, I get multiple offers.
That's great. All right. So question 2, where do you find your deals? Where do you find great deals to flip, buy and hold back in the day? But, where are you finding these properties?
I am actually finding my properties on MLS.
Also on the MLS. Okay. For those people who say you can't do it, it can't be done. Well, that's
not true.
Okay.
That's not true.
Right
Maybe
on.
I can expand on that real quick. Do you have any tips for people for finding good deals on the MLS?
What are her criteria, maybe?
I think you just have to keep scrubbing it. I like stuff that's been sitting for a long time. I don't go after brand new listings. I go after stuff that's been sitting. And sometimes what they're asking for it is not what I'm willing to offer. And I just send out the offer anyway. I think you should just go ahead and send out the offer, even if you think they won't accept it.
Yeah.
That's terrific advice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a number of times where, I made an offer like, what the heck? I'll just get the offer anyway. And then they accept it. And I'm always like,
Exactly.
I'm like, I should have offered lower. Oh, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always happens.
Yep.
I just got one where I offered $80,000 lower, and I was just amazed that they said yes.
Yeah.
Wait, how much was it listed for?
It was listed for $230,000, and I offered $145,000, and they came back and said, we'll take $150,000.
Wow. Well done.
Nicely done. That's great. And how long had that been on the market? I'm just curious.
Probably about 68 days.
Okay. Interesting.
So it wasn't that long.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you have any recommendations for good software programs or any other way that you manage all of your projects? Because having a lot of stuff going on at once seems like it would take some kind of management.
Actually, right now, I'm just really doing Excel, Microsoft Word and Excel. There's really no special software that I'm using right now.
Okay.
Well, there you go. It works. You don't have to get any big fancy software to make it happen. That's great. All right. Last question. I am new to rehabbing. Where is the best place for me to find funding for my first deal?
I think if you're very new, you have none of your own funds or very little of your own funds, I think you just look it up, go on Google, search up hard money in your particular area, and just call them all and see what they have to offer.
Nice. And since you said hard money, we do have a directory on BiggerPockets of, I don't know, we have like 300 or 400 hard money lenders around the country. It's biggerpockets.com/hard money lenders. And folks can go there and do exactly what Ophelia said, call up, a bunch of these folks in your area and see who might be willing to work with you and who you would want to work with as well. Obviously, it's a two-way street. Don't just take the first lender who's willing to work with you. Make sure you do your due diligence.
There you go.
Nice.
And I think I have met a couple hard money lenders who are actually on BiggerPockets. So if you just go through the forums, you can find hard money lenders who are on BiggerPockets.
There you go.
Cool.
Nice.
Very cool. Great. Perfect. I love it. All right, moving on. Let's end this thing with our world famous
famous for?
All right, these questions are the same ones we ask every week, so I'm sure you've heard them before, but I'm going to throw them at you right now. Number one, what is your favorite real estate book?
The Flipping Book by Jay Scott.
Okay.
Bam.
The Book of Flipping Houses by Jay Scott. I love it.
Yeah.
There you go. You can find that at
That is an amazing book.
BiggerPockets.com/flippingbook. It is available. And it is a really good book. So,
Not as good as other people's.
okay.
If you tell me the name of your book, I'll say that instead.
Oh my goodness.
Admit it,
Don't.
Jay Scott paid you to say his book, didn't
Oh,
he? I knew it.
stop.
I knew it.
I don't even think he knows who I am.
He's a
will
Maryland
after
guy.
today.
He's a Maryland guy. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll know who
But
he
I
is.
don't think he knows who I am. I'm probably too much of a small fry.
No, nobody's too small. Well, that's the cool thing about the real estate investing space. There's nobody that's too small. Like if you have that attitude that, hey, this person's too small, you're not going to be successful because, we all help each other out, which is the greatest thing about this business, and particularly I will plug Bigger Pockets, particularly why Bigger Pockets is so cool is like, some guy who's done 3-4 flips can help the guy who's done 50,
Correct.
So, we're all on an equal footing, I think.
And just to throw in here, Ophelia, I like to just thank people publicly on the podcast for you're helping out people. I see it all the time. You're just offering advice and stuff. So thank you. People appreciate that.
Well, thanks.
Yeah,
I appreciate being on Bigger Pockets.
Yeah. All right. What's your favorite business book?
The Trick to Money is Having Some.
Is that the name of a
Never heard
book,
of
or
it.
are you just giving me a
Yeah.
quote?
No. That's really the name of the book. The Trick to Money is Having Some.
Who wrote that book? Do you know?
I think it's Jay Scott Wild. Jay Wild or
Jay
I don't
Wild?
remember off the
Was that
top.
Jay Scott's like evil cousin?
It may have been.
And why that book?
No,
what,
I think it's Jay Stewart Wild.
Jay Stewart.
Jay
What,
Stewart Wild.
what was
And
what was
I'll
special
link to it in
about
the
it?
show notes. Yeah. Would you like?
I think it just talks about really the way you think. I think one of the things that I like about it says making money is as easy as chocolate cake. So you just have to have something great that people want, and once they show up, you build them for it,
Nice. And then you eat the chocolate cake.
and then you eat the chocolate cake.
Chocolate
cake. Nice. All right, Ophelia, you've got a little baby that's not a baby anymore. What do you do for fun besides hanging out with this child or
Or two
children?
of them actually.
Children. Yeah, there you go.
I sleep.
I sleep for fun. Oh man,
I
we
do.
got to work on that, Ophelia. There's got to be something else out there for you.
Actually, I think I'm a little bit of a workaholic, so I'll tell the kids, okay, we are going to go to the movies. So we're going to go to the movies in Waldorf, maybe. And then on the way there, I'll be like, but I have to stop and look at this house.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I will say I was house shopping over the weekend with my family, and I brought my kids, and we're like, oh, this is going to be a bad idea, and it was fun. It was kind of a cool family project. The kids were throwing out their feedback. It was interesting.
No, I think my kids know me now, so they kind of go, are we going straight there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad they know you now.
exactly.
Nice.
Not before, just now.
Right,
Now.
right. Yeah. Yep.
All right. My final question of the day. This has been a lot of fun, but my final question for the day is: what do you believe sets apart successful real estate investors from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
I think it's about focus. I know a lot of people say it, but I think it's really about focus. You can't be, I'm going to be about real estate, and then I'm going to open a car wash, and then I'm going to open a eviction service, and then I'm going to open, 50 million business. I think it's about people who are just very focused about getting one particular thing done.
Yeah, I see that all the time. Right? People are excited about real estate, and then they're excited about internet marketing, and then they're excited about, Tupperware, selling that door to door or whatever. The truth is, there are so many ways to make money in today's world.
Right.
Just so many ways. Like making money is not that difficult.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is difficult when you can't focus on anything because you just pick a new one because it sounds better. The grass is always greener. So I think that's
Right.
terrific advice.
And you don't let one thing work out long enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. My last question, Ophelia. Besides Bigger Pockets, where can people find out more about you?
Well, on Bigger Pockets
Nice. There you go.
is my profile, and my phone number and email are in my profile, and they can call me.
Do you have a website or?
I do not. I'm not really much on social media.
Okay.
So you really have to join Bigger Pockets
There you go.
and look up my profile and email or call me.
Cool.
Awesome.
And I will link to that in the show notes at biggerpockets.com/show105.
Ophelia, it has been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you
Yes,
for
man.
coming on, and thanks for being a part of our world.
Well, thanks so much for having me. And I don't think there are any plantains in my bed, but thanks.
Look out. The uncle's coming to find you. Oh, man.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks,
All
Ophelia.
right, we'll see you on the site.
All right. Bye.
All right, guys, that was Ophelia Nicholson, show 105 of the Bigger Pockets podcast. And please check out the show notes at biggerpockets.com/show105. Also, if you are listening to the show, it doesn't matter how you're listening to it, but if you have yet to leave us a rating or review on iTunes, we ask that you please do that. And you can do that. There's going to be a link on the show notes at show 105. And you can find that, and we definitely appreciate all ratings and reviews. They help expand the visibility of the Bigger Pockets podcast. So thank you very much. Otherwise, guys, check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. It's the beginning of the year. We know everybody's trying to set goals and things for themselves. If you have not yet started to engage on Bigger Pockets, made this part of your world, try and do that. Say, hey, I'm going to spend 5 minutes a day or 20 minutes a week and jump on the forums, greet new people in my area, participate, engage, and start to get more involved in the community. It's going to only help you. It's only going to help you meet new people, and potentially partners and deals will come as a result. So we definitely encourage it. And that's it. It's great chatting with you. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will look forward to talking to you next week on the Bigger Pockets podcast. I'm Josh Dorkin, signing out.
You're listening to Bigger Pockets Radio, simplifying real estate for investors large and small. If you're here looking to learn about real estate investing without all the hype, you're in the right place. Be sure to join the millions of others who have benefited from BiggerPockets.com, your home for real estate investing online.